Happy birthday, Chiropractic, and me, Dr. Paula Ruffin. And I'm here with...
Yeah, I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and it is, I don't know how we got the most perfect Thursday to do a podcast about such amazing things. Dr. Paula's happy birthday today. And the irony of it all is that chiropractic, the very first adjustment was given in 1895 on September 18th as well. So it is Founders Day is what we call it, but it's chiropractic's 130th birthday. How exciting.
Yes,
so how
did,
wait. How did you get so lucky, or how did chiropractic get so lucky to have you wherever you are? And how did that happen on the same day? What in the world? How did we get so lucky?
I know who gets so lucky. I really, honestly, I feel so honored. And when I was 25 and I was sitting on my grandmother's couch and my sister was talking to me, I had just gotten rejected by my however many, I forgot. It was 2 years in a row trying to get into PT school. And this is the whole, like, everything happens for a reason. And if you looked at me on paper, which I'm pretty amazing on paper too, but if you looked at me on paper, there's no reason that I should not have gotten into PT school. I blew everybody out of the water with all my credentials. But I don't know, it just wasn't meant to be. So I'm sitting on my grandmother's couch with my sister down in West Virginia. And my sister says to me, "Have you ever thought about chiropractic?" And I was like, I don't know. I'd been to a chiropractor a few times, didn't really know much about it. But I knew my dad lived in California near the school. So I was like, well, I'm 25 years old. I'm feeling like a loser. Didn't have my life figured out. Like, I always want to say to every 25-year-old, you do not need your life figured out at 25.
No.
So it's okay. We put all that pressure on ourselves. And I just said, okay, fine. I got to do something. So I had all the credentials from PT school. So I just applied, and literally 2 weeks later, I was accepted. That was the summer of 94. And then by January 2nd, 1995, I was in California. So I literally moved there and started school the next day, lived with my dad, which was amazing. And I was sitting in class on the very first day, and they were giving us chiropractic history and talking about how the first chiropractic adjustment was given on September 18th, 1895. And in that moment, I was like, oh, that's it. Like, I was meant to be here. So, we often talk about chiropractic calling us into the profession. I never felt called into the profession personally, but it clearly called me, because to me, that was like no, girl, you're here for a reason. That was the message, that it's all going to be fine. And we got you. So yeah, that's how it ended up.
That's amazing. And when we really look back, so as we review how even the first adjustment happened, like, there was this guy named D.D. Palmer and Daniel David Palmer, and he was in Davenport, Iowa, and he was a magnetic healer back when really all of it is like based on the same principles, truly. But he was a magnetic healer, and he was in this building, and there was a janitor in the building named Harvey Lillard. And he was years before, and I can't remember how long, but he was deaf because he was crouched and stooped in a position, and he heard something in his back give out, something along his spine give out, and he lost his hearing. And so D.D. Palmer deduced that if that was the way, then let me look to the spine. And it's amazing. So cool. The first adjustment was delivered, and hearing was restored. And all of a sudden, while he's on the table, I think it was like he said he heard the click clack of the horse hooves on the street. What was, I think, that one of the first things that Harvey Lillard could hear. And then everybody thought there was a cure for deafness. So they lined up out the door and down the street to cure deafness. And that never happened again. And then, kind of the stories go on and on from there. But anyway, it's so wild. We're here because of that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
because
right. Like, what was that one, again, like just so random? It seems random, but it's not random.
yeah,
And I think about that too, like with Harvey Lillard. Yeah. No one ever got cured of deafness again. Of course, not that we know of if there's any other accounts, but what we do know is that we see people all the time with tinnitus, right? So ringing in the ears, dizziness, headaches, sinus issues, all this head and neck stuff. And we could go into the neck and back pain, but Dr. Eric and I like to move you beyond those conversations. And I've even, and I'm sure you have too, people with lazy eyes. They're like, I know I need my adjustment because my eye is wandering again, and they get adjusted and their eyes straighten out. You guys, that is nervous system.
Mhm.
That's not, the eyes aren't in pain. The eyes don't really have pain signals. So that's just neurologically, when there's a misalignment in the upper part of the spine, it can affect anything. And that's why we always say, like, we can't say, yeah, we're going to cure tinnitus, we're going to cure dizziness. We're just restoring balance to the body and the way it's supposed to function. And then your body's healing will correct itself where your body needs it to be. And that's just such a beautiful, it's just so beautiful to think about it. Like, just get the body moving in the right direction.
Right. And the other part too, when you say that, so when we're talking about head, neck pain, sinuses, tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to pronounce it, vertigo, and all of that, so much of that is involved in the nerves from the neck. The actual vertebra that they adjusted on Harvey Lillard was in his upper back. And like between, I don't know what level it was, but somewhere between the base of the neck and the lower part of the rib cage. But this is what that says to me, is that area, the adjustment there affects everything all the way up, and it actually affects everything all the way down. And the nervous system is so widely and wildly connected to everything that everything affects everything. So one adjustment can do so many miraculous things, you guys. It is impossible to tell you some of the things that happen here. But you're talking also about lazy eyes or like cross-eyed sometimes too. Infants are sometimes born and their eyes aren't quite connected properly, not connected to each other, but not neurologically connected properly and appropriately. So the surgeons will go in and they'll cut certain muscles so that the eye that turns in will then go straighter and the eye that was pulled out will go inward. And once you cut those muscles, you can't uncut. So I got to tell you, get every single person a chiropractor. Like every person, no matter what age, needs to see a chiropractor. I had a patient in this morning. Her daughter's been coming here and she just loves it. It was her first time to a chiropractor about 2 months ago. And she's a sophomore or junior in high school. And her mom was at her first visit, but her mom came in today and she's like, I kind of go back and forth if whether I need it or not. She said, but I'm here and I'm really glad that I'm here. And I'm like, everybody needs it. Symptoms are last to come, first to go away. And so, yeah, we're just stoked to be here today, always, but being able to share from the table all out into the ethers here. So,
yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I think about, I was just at my continuing ed seminar last weekend, and it's really great when you're just in a room full of doctors and we're talking about just different things that we might see on people. One of the things we were talking about is shoulder issues. And what's interesting is that a shoulder, when you come in, if you have a shoulder issue, or oftentimes if you have a shoulder issue and somebody says, go to the chiropractor, oh, does the chiropractor take care of shoulders? The chiropractor takes care of whatever the shoulder needs in order to restore health. And it could be a sacrum. It could be an atlas, the top bone up here. It could be a thoracic vertebrae. There can be so many different areas of the body that are affecting the way that shoulder is functioning that could be causing shoulder pain, stiffness, frozen shoulder, anything like that. And so that's our job, is if you come in and I have shoulder issues, we're going to say, we need to check the spine. And if you've never been to a chiropractor, you're going to be like, that makes no sense to me, until we actually start, diving deep and getting you feeling better. And I had a patient this morning. And so what I do on my birthday every day is, or every year, is I make everybody give me a video testimonial. I ask them for a gift of a video testimonial. And so my patient this morning, one of them, because I forgot until later in the morning. So I got one this morning. It's like, I don't know, just sort of lost it. But anyway, her testimonial was great because she had called in and she was having pain from golfing. And then I had talked to her. She's like, well, that was a couple of days ago and I'm feeling better. I don't really think I need to come in. And I said, do you golf a lot? And she's like, well, yeah, I love golfing. This was in the beginning of the summer. And I said, I asked her a few more questions. And I said, wouldn't you rather get that taken care of before it compounds itself and prevents you from golfing? And she was like, well, you really think so? And I go, yeah, I know so. So she came in and she's been under care now for a couple, 3 months. And she gave me a testimonial today. She basically said she didn't realize that she was actually having pain and stiffness and immobility until we got her under care. And she started to actually feel better, where she was like, oh my God, my body was so out of whack. But we become so desensitized to it. So when people are like, well, I'm grateful I've never needed a chiropractor. And I'm like, I never know how to respond to that statement.
I know. It's so, from our perspective, when somebody says that, it's like, that's like saying.
So cringy.
Well, it's like saying I never needed a dentist. It's like, what? Like, you have teeth. Like, I never needed a chiropractor. Like, what? You have a spine. And what people really relate it, though, to is that they wait until their symptoms. Like, I had this woman, she's been under care with me for 18 to 20 years. I think she's been here from, like, I could look back and see. Actually, I will really quick because I was just thinking about her. She was in yesterday. She started here in 2005. So yeah, I was 2 months into practice. So 20 years ago, on May 3rd, she started under care. And she said to me yesterday, she's like, I said, where have you been? And she's like, well, I've been working on my schedule and blah, 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 and this and that, and whatever. So people have their excuses, but she does come in and she's like, I just bent over yesterday and something gave. And it's like, yes, that happened in that moment, but that's been building and happening. You just didn't have the symptoms. So I'm telling you, take care of your spine, no matter who you are, no matter what time it is. And so I said, well, if your schedule is that congested, we always do one Saturday a month. And I know she doesn't work on Saturdays. And she says, I never need you on a Saturday. I'm like, you need us. Every Saturday we're open, which is once a month, which is a great way to get a little bit of care. At least bare minimum care is once a month. So it's way better than waiting until you have to take days off of work because you feel terrible. You can't move your body. I had this other woman, she came back Monday after being gone. She actually moved down to Harson's Island. So she has a house here, but the other house is an hour and a half from here. And their summertime is spent watching the freighters go up and down the river there. And she came in on a walker on Monday. And she's a little bit older, but not that old. And then she came in Monday, yesterday, and today. I said, we'll see you every day until every day we're here. And she said, I'm just so frustrated. It's not better. I'm like, well, I haven't seen you in 2 years. You came in on a walker. And I said, really, it takes the body, like, when the body splints and stops us like that, it's never making a mistake. What it did, and I explained this to her, is that you're about to create permanent damage. Your body says, whoa, stop what you're doing, and sets you on your behind. And and then it takes time to say, hey, everybody okay? Hey, everybody okay? So 3 visits in, she's moving much better. She walked in without a walker and is telling me she's not feeling better. I'm like, that walker you left outside after 2 visits, like, you're better. I don't care what you're saying right now. You're getting better.
Well, I think that goes with the whole compartmentalizing, minimizing, not paying attention to. I know you know what you did when you smashed your hand.
Yeah.
I hit my hand on something last week. It's still painful, and it still might be kind of bruised. I remember walking by something, hitting it, but there was like things happening. It might have been at the chamber event. I don't remember, but I hit it and I was like, ow. And then somebody was like, what happened? I'm like, whatever, and then went into a conversation. So I kind of remember that, but I'm like, I don't remember where I was. I don't remember who I was with. How many times have you bumped into something and you see a bruise, you guys, my hand it was black and blue. It was terrible. And I'm like, now when Dr. Erica, she smashed her hand on a surfboard. So she was like, oh yeah, that was memorable. And I remembered it. But this happens to us all the time and this is when I always ask patients the question, have you had any slips, trips, falls, accidents, injuries, anything, even today or 20 years ago? And they're like, nope, never. And it is just not true. You have done something. You have slipped, you have faltered, you bumped into a wall, think about that. Like you're walking through a doorway and you're just not paying attention and slam your shoulder into a doorway. And that's whiplash. Like it's crazy what we do and what we forget we do. Mm-hmm. And that is also when people are like, can you still see the bruise on my hand? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lily's like, yeah, see the bruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it's crazy what we forget more than anything, but that's like protection. That's like our neurological protection. And that's an even greater reason to see the chiropractor, because we also talk about traumas and we talk about things that we forget about just to protect ourselves, our bodies, and we can't possibly process all of those things all at once. Mm-hmm. So I say that to say that if you're like, I've never needed you. Oh, yes, you have. You've done something. I'm sure you've been flat on your back for 3 days with back spasms. I'm sure you've had to put something around your waist, a compression belt or something. Mm-hmm. You've done something. You've taken ibuprofen, and this goes to that, where if you find yourself taking ibuprofen for stiffness, pain, anything, you need the chiropractor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, this would be good to pull up maybe on another video, but how many Americans take painkillers, arthritis drugs, all of that stuff on a daily to weekly basis?
Well, and Tylenol is the biggest cause of liver failure, which is like, that's death, you guys.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's death. Uh-huh. That's like, you're headed towards a very terrible...
I need you to say that again, and I need you to emphasize it. Say it again.
What?
For those of you in the back, listen up to Dr.
Turn your hearing aids up in the back. Tylenol is the leading cause of liver failure in our country. And I was just reading some of the stats the other day. And I was like, I mean, it's alarming. It's so alarming. And we've talked so much about this. The stuff that's on the shelves at the store, just because it's on the shelves does not make it safe. Now, we are seeing through our government right now, they're finally getting rid of like dyes and, crap that they're adding into our food. So all of that stuff is also on the shelf and also carcinogenic, killing people on a regular basis and creating wild amounts of dis-ease and disorder and inflammation in the body. All that stuff's on the shelf too. And we can see that almost daily and weekly that things are being pulled, like Tyson pulled this and Hostess pulled that and blah, blah, blah pulled this, and all of this stuff that's been available here is already pulled off the shelves in some European countries.
Well, let's also talk about Vioxx and all of the drugs that had to be pulled that the drug companies knew were going to kill people.
Right.
They knew it. They know.
This woman came in the other day and she went in for pain medicine. It was Monday and I can't remember exactly what patient it was. They put her on Celebrex. I was like, there are multiple class action lawsuits against Celebrex over the years. Like, I can't even believe that people would even take that. Like, we have to stop. There's a time and place for it. Emergency medicine, there's always a time and place for emergency medicine. When you take a fire hose, though, and just keep fire hosing down the house to make sure there's no fire, you're creating a disastrous atmosphere. You're creating a disastrous body. The greatest part about the last 130 years in our profession is that not one adjustment has ever need to be recalled. Not one adjustment has ever gone against human physiology. Not one adjustment has ever needed to be taken off the shelf. There's no such thing. So when Dr. Paula and I get to come into the office and we get to help people by putting hands on, and that is it. Here's some supplements to help support your body and your physiology along the way. That is it. Like, it's freaking amazing. And we're both so fortunate to be called into a profession that is just living and breathing health integrity.
Well, and I think that can segue us into the passion and the purpose that chiropractors have. And so many people when I went to chiropractic college had an experience. So just know that when you go to the chiropractor, most of the chiropractors have what we call a chiropractic story. I never thought I had a chiropractic story in the sense that most chiropractors had an experience with a chiropractor because they got injured in sports or a car accident, or they had their own miraculous healing, and which then led them into the profession because they saw this bigger picture. I mean, I went to school with people who were stay-at-home moms, who were electricians, who were plumbers, who were architects. Like, they had these complete other careers, but because they had an incident and an experience, a positive experience that was life-changing for them through chiropractic, they entered the profession. That is amazing to me. And that's when I always said, like, I'm grateful to not have had an injury that drove me to a chiropractor, like, in that sense. But I do feel like I was called, like I have a purpose for being here. And I was also able in my 27 years to be able to impart and see miracles that have been, brought to people just through the hands. And it's, I didn't buy into it at first. I got to be honest about that. Like, I was like, this is hogwash. Also in that first day, and the woman teaching, she was like, well, whenever I get sick, the first thing I do is go to the chiropractor. And I was like, that's stupid. That's like, what? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Who is this? Like, I thought, so I'm just telling you, like, I thought it was dumb too. If you think it's dumb hearing it, it's not dumb. It is biology. It is how the body works. And when you start to get sick, the first thing you need to do is go see the chiropractor. And yes, it's all about the biology, isn't it, Ken?
It is all about the biology. It's the anatomy, physiology, and all of it. So anyway, it's, I've read this before, and I'll read it. The big idea, I have it. It hangs on my wall. I'll grab it in a couple minutes because it really does talk about the ripple effects that one adjustment has today that can really change going forward. And I'm so grateful that inside of the governmental health movement, I'll just call it that because, it is what it is, whether you agree with it or not. It's so awesome that chiropractors are at that table. There was a lawsuit that the chiropractors brought against the American Medical Association in the early 80s. The Medical Association was trying to push the profession down. They were trying to take the credit from the chiropractic adjustment and put the profession like down and out and like make it so it went away, because it's quite powerful healing that we're always doing, which can sometimes threaten, and definitely did in the 80s. And so the chiropractors sued the American Medical Association, and we won, which says a lot. And there's also so much money in the medical association that they never talk about this case that came in the court system of them trying to like maliciously push our profession down.
And they're still trying.
They are.
Ourselves here. They are still trying. And we had chiropractors going to jail for practicing chiropractic. It was literally like the whole, knock, knock, it was an underground for a long time. And chiropractors went to jail way back when.
But
So
they believed so strongly in what they were doing.
Yeah.
They weren't going to stop doing it, even though they were calling it practicing medicine without a license. And so, yeah, they were like speakeasy style, and they were willing to go behind bars to not give up on what they were doing. So they're over the 130 years. We have so many. In fact, I get chills just saying that. We have so many profound human beings in our profession to thank. And just thank goodness that we're able to do what we do. I really feel like we're kind of riding a crest that we've been working really hard on for decades and decades, where people are questioning. Like, I'm having people come into the office, they're questioning vaccines, they're questioning mammography, they're just questioning, why are they taking this medicine? This woman was just in, she's like, I got put on a medicine yesterday or last week, and now, it's not helping with the pain. Not only that, it's making me so sleepy, and I'm constipated beyond measure. And she said, I have to wait till next week to see the doctor. I said, why wouldn't you just stop taking it? And she's like, well, it says you can't just abruptly stop. I'm like, okay.
Yes, you can.
Well, and I get it. And they scare people into it. And then they scare people from getting off of it. And, just watch some of the hearings inside of the governmental health movement that's happening right now. And it's just super wacky. And we're not for or against anything. We're just, the only thing that I really stand for, and I will stand on ground forevermore, is medical autonomy. You get to choose. And in saying all of that, things shouldn't be advertised to us. They shouldn't be thrown in our faces around every corner. I was at a gas station, and there's like a drug commercial up on the screen, like talking to me about what my body isn't able to do. I'm like, I'm just getting gas. Why am I inundated by that? And it's because the money put that up on the screen at the gas station.
Constant brainwashing. You've got to get that message out hard and heavy to get people to buy your products and feed into the multi-trillion-dollar industry that the drug companies are. It's really, and as chiropractors, this is why, we got to get our message out too. And so often people will say there's no research behind chiropractic. Well, first of all, there's a ton of research behind chiropractic care. In fact, I don't know the specifics off the top of my head. I have a whole file full. However, I'm just going to say there's studies that have shown how tension in the upper cervical spine affects brain function, affects gut function, how it affects vision, how it affects movement, how it affects immune function. There's so many studies out there, as compared to the studies for the drugs are not, their trials are like 6 weeks long. And then they know that there's going to be death, and they know that there's going to be all these horrible side effects, and they are able to push them through anyway. And there is no amount of chiropractic care that comes with risk. And so now let's talk about that, because then somebody's going to say, but chiropractors cause strokes. No, we don't. So we just got to flat out say that too, because also there has been no proven stroke cases. What you hear about is they went to the chiropractor and then they went later and they went to the stroke. So what they're doing is trying to correlate that because they're at the chiropractor caused it. I've had patients in my office over the years where they've been in my office, I've had to call 911, or I've had to send them to emergency, and I didn't adjust them. But I guarantee you, if they go to the hospital or whatever the communication is between them and the next doctor that I've sent them to, I was at the chiropractor. And then they make the correlation. Oh, the chiropractor caused this. The chiropractor paralyzed. Chiropractors don't paralyze people. I don't know where those ridiculous stories are coming from. And I just am it's infuriating when people perpetuate those types of just false narratives.
Yeah. So Silly Lily, yeah, this is good. Don't chiropractors get extended education? Yeah. So we do a 4-year degree. We have bachelor's degree first. Our doctorate takes 3.5 to 4 years. Some schools are like certain amount of quarters. Um, I think it's 14 quarters. So that turns out to be 12 would be 3 years plus 2 quarters. So yeah, 3.5 years, and some are 4 because they're on a like trimester system. So anyway, yes. So we have a doctorate on top of that. The only thing that we have the same exact education as an MD minus prescription drugs. But in place of prescription drugs, we get more nutrition, we get more radiology, we get more imaging, we get more physiology, we get more of like real body workings rather than what drug's going to be for this and what drug's going to be for that. So we are trained as primary care, just without the medication. In fact, one of my patients who may effectively have Lyme disease, she said, I'm going, like, she's following certain processes. She's seeing me, she's seeing a holistic doc, and then she has her PCP. And so, she actually turned to me and asked me yesterday, she said, now, if I can't get, because it's like growing, like the Lyme's growing in her system. And, the protocol is 3 weeks of heavy duty antibiotic at that point. And so that's what she wants to do. And her choices are up to her. She's also doing holistic care and chiropractic and laser and stuff like that too. And she said, well, if my doc says that it's not at a level that they can prescribe me antibiotics, can you prescribe? And I said, no, thank you for asking. No, we cannot prescribe that. What we do is we often give recommendations for referrals out to some care providers that we really like. And then, of course, functional medicine is within the wheelhouse. Dr. Paula does a lot of that. And I refer out to lots of different people. So anyway, so aside from prescription pharmaceutical medications, we are equal trained and trained more in actual true health. So yeah.
Well, and now they finally said that medical doctors are going to be required to take more nutrition. But
what?
Yeah, why
How
don't they have
profound is that?
What? Are you serious about
Yes, I know.
I love it. That was great, Ken. Perfect timing.
Novel idea.
Right, but we don't know. What we don't know is, what does that mean? Is that instead of the 4 hours they currently get, they're going to get 6?
I think we're going to get trained on the food pyramid, which is the standard American diet. That's totally where they're going to go, but at least they'll have a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be funded by the FDA for sure. There's no question about that. And I found this interesting, just talking about studies and health, is I have to look up this study because it is definitely worth doing a video on. They did a study that showed that a healthy Mediterranean diet can help reduce inflammation and joint pain. So if you eat healthy, you'll actually feel better. And I was blown away by that because
novel idea. What?
Never heard that before.
Possible? How can that be possible? It's crazy, you guys.
How is that possible for yeah. So, so when we talk about studies, some of the ridiculous studies that they spend money on, it's like, duh, really? Sleep helps you with better brain health. Does it? Like what? Yeah, I mean, it's
and a lot of people are catching wind about the study that was done through Henry Ford Hospital about the vaccinated.
Let's give that a minute here. Yeah, go.
Vaccinated, unvaccinated children, and that I think the number is 436% more chronic illness in those that are so. And of course, now they want to kind of poo-poo on that study. And unfortunately, when, the study is done in the way that it was done, it's just a thing. So anyway, that's like a whole different topic, but I kind of want to, since we're rolling into 40 minutes here, just want to wish you another beautiful, happy birthday. And how are you celebrating today?
Well, I'm here at work.
Yes.
So I'm going to make
People ask us, why do we work on our birthdays? I'm like, it's one of the most fun days to work. What else are we going to do?
is.
I mean, I'd love to go out and party too, but.
And I know I'm going to have to like, go out and have a cocktail tonight. So I haven't even thought about that yet. But I did spend the whole day yesterday making salsa, which was so fun. Which I usually do right around my birthday time. But yeah, so I'm going to ask all of my patients this afternoon, I'll remember, to give me testimonials as a gift to me for my birthday. And they love doing it. It's so great. My patients are just so wonderful and so loving. And, and I got some flowers today with some balloons and from my daughter. And, it was like so nice. It made me cry. But yeah, it's just all good. Life is good and happy, and connecting with people it's what I love to do. So I'm doing what I love to do on my birthday. How's that sound?
That is awesome. So
however, I wouldn't decline like a trip to a Caribbean island.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
anybody.
If anyone has a private jet that wants to fly me away,
I'm good with that too. Yes.
I will cancel my day.
That's so great.
So
I just kind of wanted to wrap up, just give a little kudos to chiropractic and read The Big Idea one more time, because it's so profound.
Yes.
So BJ Palmer was Dee Palmer's, BJ was his son, and he was the developer of chiropractic. It's called The Big Idea. A slip on a snowy sidewalk in winter is a small thing. It happens to millions. A fall from a ladder in the summer is a small thing. That also happens to millions. A slip or a fall produces a subluxation. The subluxation is a small thing. The subluxation produces pressure on the nerve. That pressure is a small thing. The pressure cuts off the flow to mental impulses. That decreases flowing is a small thing. That decreased flowing produces dis-ease body in the brain. That is a big thing to that man. Multiply that sick man by thousands and you control physical, mental welfare of a city. Multiply that man by millions and you shape the physical and mental destiny of a state. Multiply that man by 130 million and you forecast and can prophesy the physical and mental status of a nation. Now comes a man. Any one man is a small thing. That man gives an adjustment. The adjustment is a small thing. The adjustment replaces the subluxation. That is a small thing. The adjusted subluxation releases pressure upon nerves. That is a small thing. The released pressure restores health to that man. That is a big thing to that man. This is what I always joke on. Multiply that man by 1,000 and you step up the physical and mental welfare of a city. Multiply that man by 1,000,000 and you increase the efficiency of a state. Multiply that well man by 130 million and you produce a healthy, wealthy, and better race for posterity. So adjustment of a subluxation to release pressure upon nerves, to restore mental impulse to restore health is a big enough to rebuild thoughts and actions of the world. The idea that knows cause, that can correct cause of dis-ease is one of the biggest ideas known. Without it, nations fall. With it, nations rise. The idea is the biggest I know of.
And then let me finish that by saying, you never know how far-reaching what you think, say, or do today will affect the lives of those tomorrow. And that's what we're doing. And so I also just want to say, Dr. Jen just Venmo'd me $20. She said first drinks on me. So thanks, Dr. Jen. You're the best. So that's awesome. I'm so glad we could revisit The Big Idea, celebrate chiropractic's birthday, celebrate my birthday. Thank you all so much for being here. And of course, for my connection with Dr. Erica, we just adore each other and our sisterhood, and we're just fighting the good fight. So you got any other final words you want to share?
It.
Okay, perfect. All right, you guys, thank you again so much for being here and for engaging, commenting, and we will see you next week. Love you all. Mwah.